guys, and welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. I'm Shanae Howard. This is Tommy Shelby.
Hey guys.
This is Ryan Robinson.
My monster kind of smells like BO.
Good.
It was in my pits. Monster pits.
So you guys have any video game related news or any games you're excited about?
The only news of any note this week, other than like all the E3 scheduling stuff, which has been relatively standard outside of Sony's absence, is of course more news with Epic, the Epic Game Store.
Yep.
So there was the whole Rocket League business a few weeks ago, which, you know, it is what it is. They say nothing's going to change anytime soon.
Everything changes.
Everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now the PC gaming show is going to be sponsored by the Epic Game Store, which seems to have a lot of people concerned. So I thought that was interesting, and I started looking more into why a lot of PC gamers are so hesitant to embrace the Epic Game Store.
I did it day one.
Okay, well, what did you gather day one?
Nothing.
Okay, yeah, it seems to have like. I always thought like it was a matter of convenience and people just didn't want their stuff broken up because that's what it was for me.
That's what it sounded like. That's what I thought it was.
But apparently it has little to do with that. What it has to do with is PC as a platform has always been about things not really being gated.
I see.
PC players don't seem to care about where they get their content, right? As long as they can get it. So this is why you don't see people complaining about like Battle.net, right? Or like, I don't know, Origin or whatever, you know.
Well, what do you mean by gated then? What does it mean in that context?
What it means is that like it has nothing to do with this game's on Epic, so I have to download Epic to play it. What it has to do with is like accessibility. Whereas like with Steam, let's say for whatever reason I don't have a credit card, I can go and buy a Steam gift card with cash and still be able to access games digitally. You cannot do that on the Epic Game Store, at least not yet.
I see.
I assume that's something that will come later on down the line, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like things of that nature is that seems to be people's biggest problem with it. Yeah.
Didn't also like a bunch of game developers like pull out of Epic Game Store?
So there was a recent sale, like they tried their first equivalent to a Steam sale, and a lot of developers pulled their games for one reason or another, and then promptly put them back up for one reason or another. It varies from developer to developer, but I didn't look too far into that.
Yeah, I was reading.
But I mean, here's the thing: when you do a big sale like that, right, and that is a big sale, especially considering the small size of the Epic Game Store in its current state, and it's your first time doing that, there's going to be some hiccups, you know.
Yeah.
It's like with Steam, right? Steam allows devs to set their price, whether that be during a sale or not. That's why, you know, summer sale goes on and you'll still see like certain developers like Nippon Ichi very frequently is like, nope, our games are still full price, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was reading an article. So like a lot of the games that were going on sale, like Epic was like didn't get the permission from the developers.
Right.
So they were like, so say if like the $60 game was on sale for $50, Epic was like still paying that at $10 to the developer.
Right. And that they may or may not have to, right? Like, I don't know what their terms of service is when it comes to the development side of things.
So I don't know if they have to either. I don't know the answer for that. But I saw that was one of the reasons why a lot of the developers were not, I shouldn't say everyone, but like a lot of developers were pulling it because they didn't get permission, and also it hurts like without it. They don't have like the plan, like the strategy marketing plan for it.
Yeah.
Why it's like not the same price in other places, and also it decreases the value if people are like, oh, well, it's on sale here.
Sure. Other than that, next weekend is Combo Breaker, so I'm excited to watch a lot of that. And yeah, that's all the news I really have.
That's all she wrote.
You got anything, Ryan?
Nope.
What about any games that y'all are excited about?
I mean, there's always something.
Or excited to see at E3.
I'm hoping that they show more Sable at E3. Been waiting on that for what feels like forever. And I'm really interested in. Now I'm saying this and I can't think of the fucking name of the game. Fuck. It's an NIS published game. Basically, it's like they did Blade Strangers, right, which was like their answer to an old school fighting game, right? But now they're doing another game that is basically their answer to Puzzle Fighter.
Okay.
And I really love Puzzle Fighter. As broken as Puzzle Fighter is, I really do love that game. So to have something new that's like that is exciting. There's also another company that's like putting out what is basically Monkey Ball. And they can't call it Monkey Ball, but like it is very obviously Monkey Ball, and it looks really cool. I don't know the names of either of these games though.
I'm down for Monkey Ball adjacent.
Oh, careful.
Yeah,
careful.
Shanae. Watch out.
For listeners, Shanae just bashed her head on the microphone.
Yeah. You okay?
I'm real dumb.
Yeah, you are.
It's been we're getting a late start this morning, so it's fine. It's fine. We're tired.
Yeah, we'll
adjust. We got bulls.
Sleepy peepee. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything.
Oh, and Mario Maker. Super psyched for Mario Maker.
So what is going to be what's going to be new in Mario Maker 2? Because I don't know
so much. So like the first gameplay reveal showed slopes, right? So that's a new thing. I don't really give a shit about slopes. I'm sure it'll make things a bit more interesting. Whatever. But
I'm all about them slopes.
Like they've got the angry sun in there, which is cool, but now they also have a moon, and the moon like changes properties of levels. So it can be like reversed gravity or like spotlight or things of that nature.
Okay.
And I feel like that really opens up the possibilities of what you can do with a level. Also, auto-scrolling levels, you now have camera control over how you want that to scroll. There's more emphasis on switches and things of that nature. So I feel like overall, there's just much more you can do.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm just excited to find a new game to be excited about.
That's not Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, like I'm just
Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Aren't you excited about that?
something new, like something I don't know about yet, like something else to like look forward to.
Well, I'm sure that you're gonna get.
I'm just open to possibilities.
Sure. I mean, I think that there will probably be one announcement of a new IP or new entry in something that you hadn't heard about.
Yeah.
So Ubisoft, they had like alluded to like a new Splinter Cell, but then they came back and said that was a joke.
Yeah, it was expected last year.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a joke.
I don't think it was a joke either for a couple of reasons.
And I'd like to see that is something that I'd like to see is announcement of a new Splinter Cell.
So like I don't remember if that was a 4chan leak or if that was Laura Kate Dale. I don't remember who leaked that list last year, but every single game on that list was right except for Splinter Cell.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention his inclusion in what was it, Ghost Recon?
Ghost Recon,
Wildlands?
Like Ghost Recon, The Division.
Yeah, so like I do think it's happening.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'd like to also that their new Ghost Recon actually sounds kind of neat. So I'd like to see more of that.
So like it's set on like some bad guy's island, right?
Yeah.
Some like rich bad guy's island.
Drone
and,
Island.
Like,
and it's got the Punisher
in it. It's a
in
cool concept, but like, man, I wish it was the island of Dr. Moreau instead.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Because that would actually set you up. If it was the island of Dr. Moreau, that would set you up for like a what do you call it? Like a Vermintide type of co-op shooter, which would be really cool.
And then like, I mean, what it could be Shang Tsung's island, which would be fun.
Oh man, that would be cool.
It could be Gullah Gullah Island.
Watch out for those binyas.
Or Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I don't know enough about Gilligan's Island to pick something out of that you can do, but
that's all right, little buddy.
I get that one. That's really. I haven't really been looking. I haven't really been looking out to the horizon that much lately because like I've had a recent influx of additions to my game collection, so I've kind of been like really entrenched in that.
Because your girlfriend's buying you games.
Yeah, she actually bought me 2 games in the past like month.
Yeah.
Because she's
awesome.
Must be
She is
nice.
pretty awesome. She is awesome.
Maybe buy Tom some games. You ever think about that?
Oh,
Are you his girlfriend?
Tom, the last time I bought you a game, your machine broke.
No, I'm telling her to buy me games.
Ah, yes.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, man, we'll see. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
But no, like, because she bought me Far Cry New Dawn, which I haven't gotten to yet because I want to finish Far Cry 5 first. And I have Sekiro, I have Days Gone.
Nice.
I watched a video of a Sekiro mod that replaces the character model, reskins the character model as 2B.
I haven't seen that one.
It's disturbing.
Because it moves weird or what?
Yeah, because like it is, it's 2B's character model on Sekiro man's frame, so like arms are wide out, like really fucking weird, Yeah. Yeah. I don't like it. Don't do that.
And a lot of Mortal Kombat, which I'll get more into in a little bit.
This episode or next episode?
This one.
Okay.
This one.
And Rage 2. That's the other game she bought me was Rage 2.
Yeah.
That game is a first person shooter. And that's what I will say about that. No, I mean the moment to moment, like the actual gunplay is fun. The weird thing about it is though that like it's
Gunpla.
That's a good. I like that. I'm gonna start saying that instead. So
people are gonna get really confused.
Yeah. So like
Ryan's building Gundams.
So of course when I'm playing the game, I can't help but think about the first Rage game, which by the way, I remember not too long ago that I said that, man, I would really like another Rage game. And people kept telling me how it wasn't going to happen. And then it happened.
Sure.
So you proved them wrong.
Did I, though? Because, like...
I mean, it doesn't seem like Rage. There's a wing stick.
Yeah.
But like,
I feel like it feels almost like it's Rage in name only.
Yeah.
Because I think that the first Rage game had, like, a very...
And essentially it is, right? Like Rage didn't have a double jump.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's really like they make references to characters from the first game, and like some events in the first game, like some characters from the first game are returning.
John Goodman.
John Goodman is not here.
Okay.
His daughter is here. So, yeah,
Bethany Goodman.
Yeah, Bethany Goodman. Good old Beth Goodman. But it just doesn't seem like those two games are even in the same franchise. And that's not to say that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just that it's
not what you were wanting.
It's not what I was expecting. Especially when I think about like a follow up to that game, it's so disparate and it's such its own thing that like I don't even really think it's like. It doesn't really feel like a sequel.
My biggest question about Rage 2, like what made Rage awesome to me was the AI.
Yeah.
How's the AI in Rage 2?
Dumb.
Is it? See, that's what's disappointing because like in Rage 1, your AI is like doing fucking flips and fucking rushing you.
So
and doing all this crazy shit.
there is one AI thing that I think is actually pretty cool. So one of the enemies is a guy who he has a baseball bat and he likes to take grenades out of his pocket and like bat the grenades at you.
Okay.
So, but he also, if you throw grenades at him, he'll hit them back at you. I think that's pretty neat. But like other than that, more or less, the enemies are kind of just running at you, and you have like the smaller ones you're killing really fast, and you have bigger guys who don't really, they kind of just stand there and shoot at you until you kill them.
Yeah.
So they're not really and that's another thing too is that, so I think that they've kind of tried to further emphasize the open world in this game over what it was like in the first game, but like there's not a whole lot going on. Like when you're driving around, there's like you'll see stuff sometimes, but like it's largely empty.
And I feel like that makes sense, but like because of the setting,
sure,
it's the same thing like we saw with Mad Max.
Yeah,
but like.
The weird thing about it is that like
stop doing that.
You're gonna you
do a different setting then.
You're gonna happen across you'll be driving and then you'll see enemies like driving in their own cars, right?
Yeah.
And like there might even be times when like if you're not paying attention, you'll collide with them, and it's almost as if you're not there.
I don't know.
They ignore you, and it's so weird. Like they will when they see each other, they will engage each other, but like when they see you, like it's like you're not even there, and it's such a weird thing to me.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who knows next to nothing about game development, when I see things like that, right, like, open world's empty because it makes sense for this setting, and then you see that again, open world's empty because it makes sense for the setting, it's like, it feels like an excuse as to why your game doesn't have more shit,
Well, and this also very, like, because you have post-apocalypse, which I think is, like, really in like, the Mad Max kind of wheelhouse, but this feels more like post-apocalypse in the way that, like, Horizon Zero Dawn is.
Sure.
And so it would make sense, because it would make more sense to have more stuff going on in the open world in this particular game.
Yeah. And
so because of that, like, it doesn't make sense given the setting. But like, it's you have, like, different areas that you can go to that, like, it's basically you're clearing out, like, enemy hideouts or whatever. And the objective is always the same: kill all the guys here, and then find all the hidden containers or data pads or whatever here, and then move on to the next one. And you're repeating that ad nauseum. But I don't know. It, like, the actual shooting is fun, but it's just so. It's like it's the actual firefights are so short that, like, the moment, like, you start finding a rhythm in it, then it's over.
Yeah.
And then you're moving on to the next thing.
That could be just because you're early on.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume you're early on.
Well, see, that's another thing. I don't know how much of this game that I've played.
Yeah.
Because whenever I look at the time played in the statistics screen, first it showed me that I was playing for 2.5 hours, which I know that I've been playing more than 2.5 hours. I look at it again, and it tells me that I've been playing for just over an hour.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how long have I been playing this game? Forever? Have I never played it? I don't know, but it's all right. It works. But it's not doing anything it's just not doing anything remarkable, especially considering how the game was. I feel like the game was marketed in a way that it was going to be very, like, in your face and loud all the time.
Yeah.
And it is very much not that.
And we talked about it last week, right? Like, I don't think every game needs to do something new and inventive.
Sure.
But, like, yeah, it very much tried to tell its audience that it was going to.
Yeah, and one thing that I really can't stand.
It's the Peter Molyneux of ad campaigns.
Yeah, and I also have to understand that people who make the ads aren't the same people who are making the game.
The nukes.
But yeah, Mr. Nukes, Peter Molyneux.
Oh, gotcha. It's been a while since we made that one.
Yeah. But, like, and one of the things I don't like is when, like, I can understand, like, in a first-person shooter, like, having your favorite gun, right? Like, everybody has a favorite gun in any first-person shooter that they've played, right? But
not true.
Huh?
I don't pick favorites.
Okay. Anyway, so, but then, like, when they balance the game in such a way that, like, one gun is clearly better than all the other ones, so, like, what's the point in picking up the other guns?
Right, and that's my worry for Doom 2.
Well, and that's what's kind of happening in Rage 2, is because you have all these other weapons, and the weapons are cool. Like, there's a really cool rocket launcher, and you have and like, a pretty good shotgun. But one of the guns that you get early on is this assault rifle, and, like, you have these other weapons, but I haven't found a reason to use any other weapon besides the assault rifle.
Yeah,
and it's just a really weird thing to me.
See, and that's, like, for me, that's just, like, variety, right? Like, variety's the spice of life, whatever. But, like, with Doom Eternal, I worry because the super shotgun has that grapple on it, and when you directly tie momentum and movement to a weapon, it makes me only want to use that weapon.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the weird thing about Doom, because I feel like the shotgun in and of itself is such an intrinsic part of Doom's identity.
Yeah,
that. Because I think about Doom 2016, I think about how much of that game that I went through with just the super shotgun, and it's weird because it's such an iconic part of Doom that I guess I kind of didn't mind it.
But, like, if I can play Doom as Spider-Man with a shotgun, or Doom with a plasma rifle, I'm gonna pick the fucking shotgun every time.
Right.
And, like, who knows? Maybe they'll do things to incentivize play with other guns, whether that be shotgun ammo is limited, which is kind of a shitty way to do it.
Yeah.
Or, whatever else. But yeah, I worry for that game.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Doom is my favorite though. Oh, and I played VR for the first time yesterday. You want to hear about that, Shanae?
Yeah.
So, I was telling Tom that the other night, I got the PSVR set up, and like I thought that I don't know. I guess I thought I had it hooked up right, but I went into Tetris, and I was like, I didn't realize that it was in theater mode.
Oh yeah, because we talked about it at work, and he said that it never got clear. It was always like fuzzy.
Well,
that's a screen door effect.
That was a whole other thing. What I'm talking about is like it looked like instead of like being able to look around and see all the space shit around me.
Space shit.
I mean,
yeah,
right. It was just like it looked like I was just sitting really close to my TV, and I was like, this is lame. VR sucks. But then so I had my girlfriend like try it. I was like, I want you to see if your experience is the same as mine, because I don't know if I was doing it wrong or what. But the moment that she put it on, like I could see on the TV that it was different. And I was like, it didn't look like that when I played. So I tried it again, and it worked, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. And I was like, what other games are there? So I played Rush of Blood. You know what that is, Shanae?
No.
So it's basically, you know what Until Dawn is?
Yes.
Okay. I guess you don't really need to know because they seem different. But okay, so basically it's a
it's in the title, Until Dawn,
yeah,
Rush of Blood.
But they don't seem similar at the least. But anyway, so basically it's like you know what Carnival is?
They're coming to town.
No.
Okay. So you're an unnamed person going to some weird carnival for some reason.
Okay, yeah.
And by the way, I'm talking about Rush of Blood.
Oh, not Carnival.
Carnival was an arcade-like gun game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a Carnival-like gun game.
Oh, okay.
And so you're in like a little roller coaster car, and the carnival guy is like guiding you through the thing, and then guys will jump up and come at you, and you got to shoot them with your guns. And Tom was asking me if I got queasy when I played it, and I didn't get queasy, but like my brain felt weird when like the roller coaster started moving, because I knew that I wasn't moving. I knew that I was sitting on my sofa, but it still felt like, I don't know, it was just a weird sensation.
Yeah. Like I had a similar
pleasurable sensation.
I had a similar reaction whenever I played PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
And not so much on like the passive experience, like that little Shark Tank one.
Yeah.
Where it's like to get used to like the parameters and stuff. That one felt a little. I mean, I felt like I had a weird moment. It's like, whoa, this feels so real, but like I can feel this ottoman that's like next to me.
Yeah.
But then we played one where I was actually involved, where like we're actually playing a game, and that one I also had like just like a kind of a surreal moment where it's like, oh, hey, this is not reality thing.
Well, like one of the weirdest things to me was I was playing Rush of Blood, and I was holding the thing when I pulled my guns up, and like it was someone else's arms. It wasn't my arms. And that's such a weird feeling to me. And also like, I don't know why, but like the idea of like someone sitting next to you when you're in VR and you're looking right at them, but they're not there in the VR, and it's just weird because when they're talking to you, it's like, I don't know.
Your argument against VR is the same as your argument against POV porn.
I didn't make an argument against VR.
Sure.
I just said it was weird. But my argument against POV porn stands. That's not my dick. VR is cool though. Yeah. I enjoyed my time last night. I'm gonna
hey, now you should try VR porn.
No.
All right.
That's not my dick.
All right.
Well, you could just do like the cuckold stuff.
Maybe they'll
just, like,
eventually eventually they'll have like character creation for that, and it could be pretty close to your dick.
Yeah. Make it real small.
Yeah. Or like get like that the Age of Conan dick slider.
Oh yeah. It was like zoop, 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 zoop. But yeah, I was telling Tom, I was like, man, I was trying to talk to my girlfriend about getting some other games, and like he's laughing because I was talking about talking my girlfriend into buying video games that I want to play.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna try to talk her into Doom, but we'll see. But yeah, that's been me. Pretty good. Feeling good about that VR.
So, fighting games.
Nice segue, Shanae.
Yeah. Ryan and I, over the past few weeks, have been playing a lot more fighting games, not so much together. And we did play some MK11 together when that first came out, but
that was fun, by the way.
Just kind of on our own. And we did a fighting game episode a few years ago, but we just wanted to come back around to it, I guess, new perspectives or whatever. I've been playing mostly Vampire Savior or Darkstalkers 3, as well as Third Strike.
I've never actually played Darkstalkers 3. Like, I just know about it because of the MVC games.
Yeah.
So
I think that's most people, you know.
Yeah. Fair. But so what is the I mean, I know it's a fighting game, but like what is like the gameplay style of it like? Is it more like a Street Fighter? Or it like can you strafe like in Tekken? Is it like fast?
No, it's 2D.
Okay.
It's really interesting, right? Because like it's a series that I played in the 90s when I would happen upon it at an arcade or a Pizza Hut or whatever, right? But it's never anything I owned. And it's never anything I spent a lot of time with. I was talking to Ryan about this before you got here. It's interesting now to go back to a fighting game that you played when you were a kid, with the knowledge you have now, right? Because it's kind of made me respect the game much more than I ever had. I always liked Darkstalkers. I always felt like if Capcom were to bring back a franchise, it should be this over something like Red Earth or Project Justice. It should be Darkstalkers. But yeah, like just learning the game and because I'm learning 3, just like researching more of the franchise in general, it's very interesting. A lot of firsts happen in Darkstalkers, you know. I could not find
specifically Darkstalkers 3 or just
Darkstalkers
as a series.
As the series. You know, it's like chain combos. By the way, at any point in this discussion, if you guys need to know what something means, speak up.
I will.
Chain combos, like I cannot find. So like the Darkstalkers franchise predates Alpha. You know, I can't find a game before Darkstalkers that had chain combos. I mean, if anybody knows, like, please let me know because I would like to know.
All right.
Does Darkstalkers 1 have chain combos in it?
I can't verify, but I'm pretty positive it does. And like, so let's touch on that, right? Chain combos is something that on this show I've kind of talked down about. When I think about chain combos, my mind immediately goes to Marvel. And Marvel is a series that I like a lot, but Marvel is also kind of a simpler fighting game series. In that, you know, light change to heavy, or, you know, light change to medium, change to heavy,
right.
Change to launcher, right? For every character. And like, that's cool. That's great for accessibility. You've got, I guess, then 6 mix-up possibilities because you can do, well, maybe 9. You can do ducking, you can do jumping on any of those, right? And that's it. Like, you can't count launcher in that because it's going to do the same thing every fucking time.
Right.
And then you do it in the air, and then you switch to the next character, and then you do it again. And you switch to the next character, and you do it again, you know? And then you knock him to the floor. So that's how Marvel works.
Has your feelings about chain combos changed since then?
It's changed. I mean, it hasn't changed. Like, I've always liked chain combos. Alpha 3, for a long time, I said was my favorite fighting game, right? And the Alpha series has chain combos. But what I like about Darkstalkers and what I like about Alpha over something like MVC is it's a 6-button input system, right? So you still have light, medium, heavy punch, light, medium, heavy kick. Yeah. Whereas in Marvel games, you have light, medium, heavy. That's it. It's a 4-button fighter, essentially. So what's that mean? It means you can do a crouching light kick to a standing medium punch to a crouching roundhouse or whatever, right? Any possible combination. So it just gives you so many more options. And I think that's really, really fun because it's accessible, but you can be creative with it.
Right.
Every single character in the game has a command grab, which is fucking awesome.
The Darkstalkers series or Darkstalkers characters in the MVC that I've played, they all are very, very unique characters.
Sure.
Like as far as like even like their move sets and stuff like that. And maybe generally doing the same thing, but they like the animation and everything, like in the flow, it feels very different.
Yeah.
Is that also true in 3?
I mean, as far as the way that they play, it's interesting because you do have your characters that are like Capcom staples, right? Like your Dimitri and your Morgan are very much Shoto characters with variation, but they're similar, right?
What does Shoto mean?
Shotokan, so like a Kin, a Ryu, a Sakura,
Gotcha.
a Nakuma, like that kind of character, right?
Understood.
Lots of quarter circle forwards.
Yeah,
backwards.
lots of quarter circle forwards, right? So you got like standard Fireball with both of those characters. You got a standard Dragon Punch with both of those characters, but like they work differently with them than they do in other games, and like you don't have like a Tatsu with either one of them. You have
What's
like
a Tatsu?
a Hurricane Kick.
Gotcha.
So you've got like a Tatsu motion, but it doesn't do that. It does something completely different, right? You've got backdash and forward dash, and it works differently depending on who you're playing as. So like with Dimitri, it's a teleport, but like a very quick teleport. With Morgan, it's a forward and backdash that goes, forward or backwards and also vertical. So it changes things significantly. 3 is the first Darkstalkers where you're playing on a stock system, right? So stock meaning that like each player starts with 2 lives, and when you die, one of those gets taken away. So it's not like there's rounds technically, but it doesn't really work that way because when you lose a round, you get knocked down and immediately you're fighting again. The game doesn't pause and reset. Immediately you're fighting. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of games take from this.
Yeah.
I think Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
You've got white life, but like significant white life.
What's white life?
So like when your meter drains, right? When you get attacked, you take damage, which just that health is gone,
right.
And then you get white life damage, which you have the possibility of getting back, right? But it's significant in that you're getting a ton of it. And what's cool about that is you can be on the last round of the game and you've got like an eighth of a meter of regular life, but like 80% white life.
Right.
And what that changes is it makes, if that's you're trying to back off and regain that life. But because the game is so fast and because there is so much white life, the game becomes a rushdown game. Which is why I think Ryan would probably really like the game because like you're just trying to hammer the other opponent as fast as you fucking can, Right. It just does.
Like it's up your alley.
Mm-hmm.
Your style.
Yeah, it just does a lot of
very aggressive,
really neat things, and a lot of those things. It was the first or one of the earliest iterations that I can find in doing that. Third Strike is a whole different ballpark. Mainline Street Fighter games do not have chain combos. So
what's Third Strike?
Street Fighter 3 Third Strike.
Oh, gotcha.
It's the third version of Street Fighter 3.
There's a lot of versions.
There's a lot of versions of each of them.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah. But like, if Darkstalkers is a game where you can like feel super powerful super quickly and learn very fast, Third Strike is a game that I've played much more of than Darkstalkers 3 over the years. It's a game that like you just feel like you are fucking shitty at this game. Like you need
you
to.
You are a piece of shit.
You need to practice this game, But it makes it so much more satisfying when you can execute on that practice, Even just parries, like Ryan and I were playing Ultra 4 just a little bit ago. And I was telling him like focus attack is neat and everything, but like I can't believe they've removed parries and replaced them with focus, It's such an interesting thing to have in a video game, and like Capcom fighters haven't really done that since, except for Ryu in 5,
He's the only one in 5 with a parry, right?
As far as for his V skill, I'm not positive though. But even so, even putting it back, like I guess that's why I'm going back to these older fighters, is that fighting games have wanted to bring in a larger audience, which makes sense. And to do so, they've all become simpler. All of them, and that doesn't mean they're not fun. I've had a lot of fun with 5 over the years, but I feel like I want something that's going to push me to become a better player, So, like, for instance, when Street Fighter Anniversary Collection came out, although its training options are very, very limited, you can record dummy settings and all that, right? So, since that game came out, I've been trying to do the Evo Moment 37 parry, the Daigo parry,
right?
You know, and now I'm trying again on this version, and man, I can get maybe. So for those that don't know, I think that's a 15, 16 hit combo.
Yeah,
I can parry maybe like the first 5 or 6.
Yeah,
you know,
because you have to just be on it.
In
every
5
frame.
as Ryu, I can do the whole thing no problem.
Right,
no problem.
Right.
You know,
I feel like the window for the window is bigger in 5.
It's way bigger. The window for execution and everything in most modern fighting games is bigger.
Right.
11 included, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. So it's just, you know, try, because like, I guess my feeling is if you can get good at the golden era games, you're going to be much better off in the modern stuff.
Right. So I want to, okay. Summon of Time was last week, and Sinead, did you look at any of that?
No.
Okay, so it was the first tournament for Mortal Kombat 11.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, what is that?
Well, so Beyond the Summit is
Beyond the Summit
tournaments in general. Summit of Time specifically is 11. Yeah.
Which, man, that. So it was very fun to watch, and like there were some, and like I watched it first and foremost because I wanted to see how Sonic Fox performed, but then I also got to watch like really great fighters like Dragon. Which Dragon is just his like I didn't like that was one of the things that I took away from Summit of Time is that these characters were doing things in Mortal Kombat 11 that I didn't know that these characters like they were doing combos that I didn't know that these characters were capable of. And watching a lot of that was just like it was just really it was really inspiring, especially considering that I feel that Mortal Kombat 11 has been, as far as an experience for me, has been one where probably the most beneficial to me as a fledgling fighting game fan, specifically in the way that it kind of explains the foundations of what you're doing. And even still, I feel like I have like a long way to go. There's stuff that they don't lay out all the way, right? But they give you some basics there. And what the thing about it is like watching this stuff and spending like 2 or 3 hours at a time in practice mode on Mortal Kombat 11, doing online match here or there. It's like the more it's so strange because before, like I feel like maybe 10 years ago, like all the stuff would have been intimidating to the point where it was just impregnable to me. I just wouldn't have been able to get into it. But now it's just like the more terms I hear, the more stuff that I see, like the more I'm inspired to like get in there and practice and learn. And it's just, and then like I'll spend like,
I mean, you're definitely like seeking education more than you used to.
Yeah.
Like over the past week, you've asked me what this term or that term means
yeah,
more
so
than you ever have.
For example, like I never until like recently, I never heard the term neutral before.
Yeah.
And neutral is basically like,
I was like, educate me.
well, I think
it's from a normal standing
Yeah.
motion. You can also have like neutral jump, which is like
Yeah.
a straight up jump.
yeah.
You know?
Okay, so gotcha.
So like for example, like the context that I had heard it in, because when I was watching Summit of Time, is the announcers would regularly talk about Cassie Cage's neutral.
Yeah.
They were like, say she's got the best neutral in the game, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Wait, how do you have a better neutral than another character?
Your attacks at neutral are better.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like neutral just means like you're not moving, you're just standing there.
No.
Yeah, got it.
So
now.
neutral just means like doing a thing without a directional input.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Which is funny. Like Ryan asked me to explain to him. I pretty much explained it to him in that way, except that like, you know, I told him it's like jab standing still versus jab walking forward. In most games, it's going to be the same attack, but in a lot of games, it's not.
Yeah.
You know. Like in like a Tekken or a Soul Calibur, it's going to be completely different, you know?
Yeah. Because just to reiterate, like basically the 90% of the fighting game experience I have is either MVC or Tekken.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think I've ever actually played Street Fighter, like besides an arcade machine.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's just like it's a fulfilling progression in a way that I haven't felt in like any other kind of video game.
Was Hungry Box at Summit?
No.
Okay. I thought I saw him there, and I was like, "That's really weird."
I mean, he might have been there, but I don't think he competed.
Okay. Yeah. I thought I saw him there, and I was like, "This guy plays Smash. What the fuck's he doing here?" Which, like, you see a lot of crossover with that stuff, but like, yeah, that would have been strange.
Yeah, but like you
just coming up to support.
Well, it was also cool to see, like, because like it's weird to hear the way that they talk about Mortal Kombat. Well, not Mortal Kombat exactly, but like people who play Mortal Kombat, because like they had players there like Tyrant, who had been competing in Mortal Kombat since 9, and but like when you hear people talk about like people who've been competing since 9, that is considered like this is this old school guy versus this guy who started with X or 10,
right?
And he's like a whole new generation. It's weird for a franchise that is as long as Mortal Kombat is. It's weird to hear it talked about that terms, but like when you look at Mortal Kombat, like Mortal Kombat 3 and Mortal Kombat 9, like that's a different thing, and like so like I can see where that comes from.
Well, and if you look at like when the FGC is birthed, right? Like, and when Evo is birthed, right? Like, Mortal Kombat was not being played in a serious way,
right? And I think it very much seems like in the past 10 years, I feel like Mortal Kombat is being taken more seriously than it had been before
because they've made better games.
Yeah, and it shows, you know, like it's Mortal Kombat has gone through like a lot of different iterations. It's like, I'm not talking about like the side games like Mythologies or anything like that. I'm talking about like their actual fighting games.
Yeah.
Like to watch them go from 2D fighter to 3D fighter back to 2D fighter.
Yeah, and 3D fighters that use the exact same character structure,
right,
across every character except Motaro.
Yeah,
you know,
like watching them do that, and then come back to 2D fighting, and like you know make the best games that they've ever made is just it's a really cool thing to see. But like, you know, I was saying, like the progression that I've seen in myself, like, because I used to play like a lot of Battlefield and like a lot of shooters like that, and like that progression was rewarding only in that I was unlocking shit, and like I was like, I gotta get that next weapon, I gotta get that next skin or whatever, right?
And Mortal Kombat does the same thing.
Yeah, but like the progression I feel comes from like I can pull off this combo now.
Yeah.
You know, I can do this throw on command now. Whereas like with Battlefield, like I'm always gonna be able to pull the trigger and make the gun shoot, right?
Right. And what's interesting about that is like, because fighting games have become more forgiving, and a bit stripped down in mechanics even.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, like, if we had an older Mortal Kombat for you to go back to, which I guess we do. We've talked about going back to 9.
Yeah.
Right. But like, it's not the same as like playing 5 versus playing Third Strike.
Well, even going to, we were playing Injustice, which is probably, I feel like NetherRealm's closest game to 9, right?
As far as release, yeah.
Yeah. Like we even like playing that, I was like, this is kind of like there was some Mortal Kombat stuff like that was happening, but like overall, like it still like I still was struggling with it because like the mechanics are
well. As soon as we played, I was trying to button block.
Yeah,
which is not a thing in that game.
Yeah, which that was me too.
What's
I was
button blocking?
Like pushing a button to block instead of pushing back.
Oh, got you.
But like the weird thing is that in Injustice, you push back to block. So like,
why can't they do that for Mortal Kombat? Please, God, do that for Mortal Kombat.
And it's such a weird thing too, right? Because like I feel it's like they've done so many other things well. It's just the idea of being cognizant of pressing, because I think that pressing back to block is such an instinctual thing, right? Because you're trying to,
like pushing forward to parry is.
Yeah, it's just such an instinctual thing, and like so the idea of remembering to push a button to block seems like it's a weird thing to. It's a weird part of. It's a weird step in the journey to becoming a better player at that game. Because I feel like you're focusing a lot on that when you could also be focusing on like, other things.
I mean, the advantage of button block is that in situations where in Street Fighter you'd be wanting to walk backwards but you're blocking.
Yeah.
In these games you can walk backwards.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, like I forgot. Yeah, well, I haven't played Smash recently, so definitely, I feel like now I'm better at it. But compared to like other games, I definitely feel like I block less in Smash just because I forget that it's like up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it has to be button blocking Smash because you have enemies coming from both sides.
Yeah.
And I think
everywhere.
And it's for someone who plays. For someone like me who plays as aggressively as I do, because I'm very much offense. Like you look at my, like whenever someone gets matched up against me in Street Fighter 5, like they see like the meters all the way in the offense section. So the idea of practicing my defensive skills is just, that's a unique thing, like a unique hurdle that I have to overcome because I'm thinking like, hey, I want to win more matches, was like that also means taking fewer hits.
Yeah.
So like getting the hang, like it seems simple, when I say it, it sounds simple, but like putting it in practice has been a whole other thing.
Yeah, I'm not very good at fighting games when it comes to like blocking, and when it's like when there's a narrow scope of like when to do it, because the timing on it, I always feel like I never get the rhythm down well enough to block.
Well, I feel like people who are like newer at fighting games, like they focus more on like, I want to do the hits, I want to do the damage and make like do the flashy moves and stuff. And it seems, and I guess I can only speak for myself, but defense was always like kind of an afterthought, and I've been making it more a core part of my technique.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, like in other games when like you have a block and you can do a parry afterwards, and like it's two separate buttons. Those I'm also terrible at getting the timing down.
Yeah.
And that's not even like a fighting game sphere, so it's not like as tense.
Then you would hate Dead or Alive.
I think like the biggest problem with that, and a problem for newcomers into fighting games in general, is that we have very bad single player games.
Sure.
When it comes to fighting games, like across the board. And I'm talking about mechanically. I'm not talking about Injustice 2 story mode or anything. That's great. That's great. But the way that
the Injustice story is great.
Yeah, but the way that those games play from a single player standpoint, it's all very poor. Typically, it's the game's going to start you off with some easy fights, and it's going to ramp up and ramp up and ramp up, and then the last boss, you're going to have to do some corny ass shit to beat. Right. That's the way it's been since Street Fighter 2. But like Skullgirls. So I'm recently starting to play Skullgirls.
Oh, I played Skullgirls.
And Skullgirls single player is very much the same thing in that like the last boss is just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like it has a progression through its single player mode that teaches you mechanics of the game. So the first person you're fighting is going to zone like a lot,
I think
so.
That's why I like Skullgirls is not just the fun designs and the fun characters.
Yeah.
Explain what zoning is real quick.
It's like a keep you away, like distance yourself sort of thing, right? Like so, like projectiles typically.
If you want to watch a lot of zoning, watch Sonya versus Sonya.
Yeah. So like, it's doing that, but it's doing that not to be annoying or to be frustrating. It's doing that to teach you that in order for you to come hit this character, you're gonna have to jump over all of these or duck underneath every single one of these, or maybe your character has a move that gets you past that.
Sure.
Right. And it progresses from there. So the story mode teaches you how to play the game. Training modes are great. And I feel like tutorials have become better in games than in fighting games than they ever have been. Guilty Gear Xrd has like the best fighting game tutorial ever. Mortal Kombat 11, again, great tutorial. But like when you're sitting there playing a tower, it's the same bullshit it's always been, you know? So I feel like fighting games need to do better at that. And I understand they haven't done that because they were birthed in the arcade, right? They're made to take your money. But like games like Skullgirls or games like any NetherRealms games have no business doing that. Those games are made for console.
Yeah.
It's
funny because like even with Mortal Kombat's Origins in the arcade, like there's like even now, 25 years later, they're still prone to some arcade trappings, which
like I mean, I beat Shao Kahn in 9 the same way as I beat him in 3.
Which
and
I take issue with that because I think that a lot of the time, and I'm not just talking about fighting games. I think that a lot of the time the single player game is meant as a means of preparing you for multiplayer portion of the game. And I think that like when you have a character in the game who you beat by finding a way to cheese him to death, like that's like poor preparation, I think. Right. Because like the way I beat Shao Kahn is not going to be the way I can beat any other character unless they're as bad as the game as I am.
And it's good, but like you should have like a fight in the middle of the game that is like that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to fight players that just throw fireballs.
Right.
You're going to fight players that just do the heavy hammer attack or whatever, like it's going to happen. So you should learn that.
Yeah.
But like the single players in general just need to improve.
Yeah. And I think,
because you can spend as much time as you want in training mode, right?
Yeah.
Hours and hours and days and weeks and months, right? But like you might learn, like the problem I have with fighting games is I can learn crazy shit, but then execution
like putting in practice, like when you're in pressure of someone who's actually hitting back.
Exactly.
And that's something that I've run into also, and because I told you that I told Tom that I was that I decided that I was going to try to main Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 11, and
JC.
Yeah, he's pretty great, but in actual practice though, like when I'm actually fighting against another person, I mean, I learned that, like in training mode, I'm like, hey, this is great, I can do this. But like when I'm actually fighting another person, I learned that like Johnny Cage he's not really my style of gameplay. So like it's kind of going back to the character select screen and finding someone who really is, because he's not like aggressive, and his moveset isn't aggressive in the way that I play. So like actually having to go back and find that, and I again, like Tom said, I can go into the training mode for hours and weeks with anybody and feel like this person is gelling with me, but then as soon as I get into an actual match, then it falls apart. So it's been a process of going back and finding who's really the style that I want to play as.
The answer is Cassie Cage.
And I think that would have been true before.
Is that the one that has a great neutral?
Apparently. So going back to Summit, so I watched quite a bit of it. Not all of it, but quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
I watched all of the top 8. Sometimes that game's fun to watch, and sometimes, holy shit, is it boring to watch. Which I predicted, man. Like watching Sonya, like zoning Sonya, right? So for those that don't know, in most Capcom and SNK fighters, I think Killer Instinct works differently. Projectiles, they eliminate each other, right? If both players shoot a fireball and they hit, they disappear. In Mortal Kombat, projectiles go through each other.
Yeah, unless you do meter burn, and then one projectile will eat the other one.
Right. So this change. Well, it eats one attack, right? Of the better projectile, but like. It's interesting because it changes the zoning game, right? Like old Street Fighter games, like Street Fighter 2, are oftentimes about zoning. You see a lot of players throwing fireballs back and forth, right?
Right.
But it can be a bit more entertaining because eventually somebody's going to break that.
Right.
Whereas here, watching two Sonyas throw the rings back and forth and going through each other,
really boring.
Like what it becomes is projectiles going at the same time. And then the players either ducking or jumping to not be hit.
Right.
It's fucking boring. And then Jackie's boring to watch too, because like at a high level, right? I feel like Mortal Kombat is a better game to watch at a lower level almost. Because like Jackie, like most of her high-end combos are just a fuck ton of low kicks.
Yeah, so it seems like
like it's cool and it's technical, right? But it's boring to see.
But so that's the thing too, is that because Sonic Fox, he was maining Jackie and I can't remember who else it was. But like all of his combos started the same.
I know he had an Aaron Black.
Yeah, I think it was Jackie and Aaron Black. And he did Garrus against Tweety just to prove that he could beat him with Garrus. Which, by the way, I was telling you, Tom, that like Garrus is probably one of the more boring characters for me to watch. But I think my experience with it was different because I feel like I was having a pretty great time for most of it.
Yeah. I think it just depends on what you're into, right? Like, because like I brought up Third Strike, and you've watched 2 Chun players in Third Strike, and it's a bunch of low medium,
right?
You know, like that's all. It's a footsie game, so it's just a fuck ton of low medium. It's like, okay, I'm gonna spend 2 to 3 minutes watching people lay on the ground, you know. But
is footsie game an actual term or just something that you call?
No, it's an actual term.
Okay.
Explain what it is, Tom.
Footsie typically refers to like playing within a 1 character space of each other. And trying to control that space.
Yeah, I gathered what it meant. I just didn't know if it was an actual term.
It's like one of the most common terms. Also, like just like Ryan. Ryan talks about playing aggressively. That's what would be referred to as rush down. Like there's a bunch of dumb terms. It's like skateboarding.
Yeah. Fighting games are the skateboarding of video games, not the skateboarding games.
Yeah,
the fighting games.
That's kind of true.
But no, I like. I was watching Sonic Fox's and his Jackie Briggs. Like all the combos started the same. They all started with that series of low kicks, and then would go into something else.
Yeah.
Likewise, like with Garrus, I was like anybody who played Garrus, I was watching them do the same grabs over and over again. But like with a lot of the other players, a lot of the other characters, I was like having a really good time.
I hate Aaron Black as a character. That's a fun character to watch.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, like, so what like exactly... So in Mortal Kombat 11 specifically, what makes it a character that's, like, funner to watch?
When I watch a fighting game, I want to see action, you know? And, like, a bunch of low kicks is kind of boring. I can appreciate it in Third Strike because it's a game I'm more knowledgeable about,
right?
You know? But you have to understand that the people watching this, much like the people watching football, are not, like, super well-versed or knowledgeable on these games.
Right.
They don't know that what they're doing is more technical than all this flashy shit.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, because some games are very flashy, but I still are very boring to watch. Like a lot of the Blaze Blue.
Well, it's like Marvel, right? Marvel is super fucking flashy, but most of that shit's pretty simple inputs.
Yeah.
You know? Or like, especially like Dragon Ball. Like, Dragon Ball is a great game.
Dragon Balls can be so boring.
And it's extremely fun to watch, but man, is that like, not only are we going to have chain combos, but we're going to have 1 button auto combo.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
But I don't know. I think that because Tom was talking to me about how there are fighting games that emphasize excitement versus fighting games that emphasize skill. And he made it a point to mention that Mortal Kombat 11 is very much the former.
I think Mortal Kombat is a series, right? Yeah. Like, from the first Mortal Kombat, which they put out to monetize off of Street Fighter's success, like, what is a fatality?
Right.
You know, like,
yeah,
it has no effect on the game. It's there for excitement.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, they didn't just create that sweet theme song for no reason.
That was well after, but you are correct.
I mean, but I think, you know, a point could definitely be made for that, especially like watching this tournament. Like there were, like, I think that if you are a fighting game player who is like very prone to shit talking, then like Mortal Kombat is very much in your wheelhouse.
Sure. But it's like you know, like Battle by the Bay. I don't know, but I would guarantee there was no Mortal Kombat there.
Yeah.
You know.
So, yeah, because I brought up when Fox fought against Tweety, because they were both using, because Tweety had I think he had beaten Fox before at another tournament and told him to choose a different character, and then so like Fox got good with Tweety's main character and beat him.
So this is who you're liking to watch is Sonic Fox?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like what the point I was making is like I think that Mortal Kombat is very conducive to like if you want to like really taunt somebody, then like I feel like Mortal Kombat gives you ways to do that. Specifically in that match when Fox Fox had beaten Tweety to the point where it was like the finish him came up. Fox did a mercy, which gives the other opponent some of his life back to give him a chance to try and win, and he beat him again.
Yeah.
And I think that if you
I didn't know it did that. That's really funny.
Yeah, and I think that if
you've already won and you can let them have another chance.
Yeah, and then just beat them again. And I think that if you have the kind of personality that Fox has, which is he seems like a nice enough guy, but he's also like in a competitive sense, he talks a lot of shit. And I think that if you have that kind of personality, then like Mortal Kombat like gives you the means of like really playing to that.
He needs to be careful though.
Yeah.
Like he's lucky because he's well liked right now.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it stems from his him winning and his speech at the Game Awards. Like that's when you really saw people start talking about him, which he's been around for much longer than that.
Sure.
But like look at Lovin, right? Like Lovin beat all 5 Smash gods and was banned because he talks too much shit. He was banned for like a year.
Which is weird. Based on, I don't know a whole lot about the Smash community.
Yeah.
But I will say that from what I've seen, I'm speaking for myself, they seem like a very volatile bunch. So
I think it's because like I'm not going to say anybody has the right to be that way.
Yeah.
I do think Lovin's a fantastic player, and he doesn't just play Smash. Like I think he won DBZ not too long ago, which is a really weird transition to make. But like that community, as far as FGC and tournaments goes, has had to do so fucking much to play their game.
Yeah.
And like that would probably make me a little bit aggressive too.
And I will say that.
What do you mean?
Okay, so if you think about like Smash at Evo, right? Smash Melee comes to Evo, and I don't remember exactly why it was. I think it was a vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a vote.
I think it was a vote.
It was a vote.
Smash comes to Evo. It's there for 1 year. They're booed. They're not back for like several more years, right?
Why do they get booed?
People are that way. It's like
because there's like
it's like when Halo was at Evo.
Is it because
it's divisive because like some people don't consider Smash to be a fighting game.
I mean, look at all of the non-traditional fighting games that have been at Evo, right? Halo was there, booed. They were there for 1 year, never back again, right? Melee, same thing. They came back eventually, but they had to fucking fight to come back.
Yeah.
Mario Kart, same thing. There for 1 year, never again. You know? I mean, first of all, when Smash is at Evo, you've got Nintendo banning it. They're like, nope, you guys you can't stream any of this, and you can't even have our game there.
Yeah.
And then the Nintendo fans are like, fuck that, we want to see Smash. So then that same day, Nintendo comes out and is like, oh, okay, you can have Smash there, right? They've sponsored it every year since then. Nintendo has sponsored it every year since then, right? Like
Nintendo is really weird about letting other people look at their stuff.
Smash Brothers and Melee specifically has gone through a lot to be accepted by this community, and now they're not there, right? Now they're not there. Like Lovin won last year, they're not gonna, or last year, the year before, they're not going to be there anymore. Like Melee's not going to be there anymore as a main game.
I just want to say, unrelated, but I watched that tournament. I watched some of the time for Fox, but I left feeling like Dragon was my favorite one to watch. You should watch Dragon. He's really
I like Sonic Fox. He just needs to be careful, man.
Yeah. I think that he's made enemies in the community, and I think like part of it is, and I think it is largely in part to his propensity to like talk shit to people,
and it can cost him money.
Yeah.
In the long run, it can cost him a lot of money. You know.
So,
but like,
I just have one last question about the Smash thing before we like move on.
Yeah.
Like, so what are the things people say? Because the only thing I can think of is because it's like has a, I guess, like more mass appeal than some of the other fighting games.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why they don't take it seriously?
I think it's just people. It's just not traditional enough for some people.
It's not traditional, and when you look at like the way that commands are done, the way that commands are done in Smash is so different from the majority of other fighting games, and so much simpler.
But by nature, it has to be.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Why? How come by its nature it has to be?
Well, I was thinking more of it's like a Nintendo product. It's supposed to be mass appeal. It's supposed to be like everybody can pick it up and play it. Cause
That's what I
agreed.
meant. That's
sure. I thought you meant as far as like gameplay, the way.
Oh no, because you have Ryu there, and his Hadouken works the same way, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean now it does. It was kind of different when he was first introduced. You could still do a quarter circle,
right?
Yes, but like it's just like it doesn't matter what character you are, you know how to do every single move that they have.
Right.
You know, or you can figure it out in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think that's why. You know, I mean, even to come back, right? To come back to Evo, they had to like raise the most money for breast cancer or something like that. Like it was a competition between different communities, and Smash Melee raised the most money. You know, like, which is a great thing, obviously, but like, you know, they've really struggled to be there, and now they're not there. I mean, Ultimate's still there.
Yeah.
You know, but like a lot of
wait, is Melee not there now because Ultimate is there?
I think it's not there now because its time's up.
Yeah.
I mean, even like MVC2 was there for fucking years.
Like how old is Melee? Like it's got to be like 15.
I don't know, it's fucking old.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of players, a lot of pro players that don't want to play Ultimate.
Yeah.
That think Ultimate's a bad game. You know, so I get where they're coming from, and I get where the FGC's coming from. If we're being quite honest, I like Smash Brothers, and I do think it's a fighting game. Yeah. So is Rising Thunder. I don't want to play that.
I'm sure there will still be plenty of Melee tournaments to be had.
Sure. I mean,
but
there's Combo Breaker next week. Melee's going to be there for sure.
But I guess there's a level of prestige that comes with being at Evo that, you know, that they felt they had earned, and
they did earn it, and it was there for a long time.
Yeah.
They earned their place at Evo probably more than any other community.
This is my perspective is just like, you know, who does it hurt for Melee to be there, or for Smash to be there?
It doesn't hurt anybody, but it costs money. It costs a lot of money.
Right, but like that. But okay, so
every additional game you have there is going to be.
So,
but
and I think the FGC in general.
But the viewership is like attendance and viewership is generating more money, right?
Correct.
So and I could be wrong, but didn't Melee bring in a lot of?
Oh yeah, Melee was like at a point the highest viewed game there,
right?
Over 5, but you know the fact is the game's getting old, and the FGC as a community
has moved on.
What's that?
Has moved on?
No, it's not that they've moved on. I mean, like Combo Breaker is happening next week, and they're going to have Vampire Hunter,
right,
or Vampire Savior. Like it's going to be there. It was there last year, but like. I feel like the FGC and specifically Evo would like to give, you know, viewership to some of these lesser known games that are equally as good.
Right.
You know, like Cross Tag Battle. People had a lot of problems with Cross Tag Battle being there last year, but like it has proven itself to be a very complex, competent fighting game.
Right.
That doesn't have enough eyes on it, you know. You know, why Skullgirls isn't there, I'm not positive. I mean, I know why, because like Melee made more money than Skullgirls, but like as far as for breast cancer, but yeah.
I mean, again, I guess I don't know why I feel like I need to put this qualifier in there, but it's great that they raise that money, but like it just doesn't seem like the right metric by which you should gauge the potential viewership of a fighting game, or the potential appeal of a fighting game.
Well, it's not, right? And like people that say Evo's bigger than it's ever been are wrong, right? Attendance and viewership goes up and down and up and down. But like, I kind of, if you look at the people that run Evo and the people that started Evo, I feel like you kind of let them do what they want to do, because it's like Evo and Street Fighter 4 are why fighting games are not dead.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I mean, not completely, but to
I mean, think
extent.
about what Street Fighter 4 did.
Yeah.
You know, like when Street Fighter 4 came out, it was just like, I think that prior to that game, like people always just knew that fighting games were there, but they were like, they were there amongst fighting game fans, right? Like fighting game fans played their fighting games, and
fighting games had become essentially what point and click adventures were.
Yeah, and they just like they were there, but like nobody talked about them. And then like Street Fighter 4 comes out, and just like it just changes everything up.
Yep.
And you know, I think that fighting games as a platform, like huge debt is owed to that game, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you all three, I say all three because there's been 5. Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, and Street Fighter 4 have done so fucking much for fighting games,
right.
You know, and it's just like obviously Capcom Cup is there now, right? People seem to forget Capcom has not always endorsed Evo. But like Capcom Cup is there now. And a lot of people are just like, yeah, you know, Capcom can have whatever game they want, even if it's shitty, because they put so much money into it. And it's like, well, then why wasn't Infinite there?
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah.
Because they recognize this is not a good game. Let's not have it here.
Right.
You know, I think that Evo does much more good than harm.
Yeah.
And I prefer to watch Combo Breaker to Evo, but you know.
Yeah. Need more Power Stone. Capcom, bring back Power Stone.
And Rival Schools.
And Rival School, yes.
And Darkstalkers.
Bring those games back.
And you could even bring back Red Earth.
If you want. But
your choice.
But Power Stone is at the top of my list at this point.
So, do you got any closing thoughts?
No, not really. I mean, it's just what we've been into over the past couple of weeks. So we wanted to kind of just carry on about it.
Challenge yourself. Play a fighting game. You might surprise yourself.
Yeah. So, we're doing video game voice actors again.
Oh God.
I don't know their name, Shanae. Tom wins.
No, you do better at him in this game.
Better at me?
Yeah, I'm gonna do better at you, Tom.
Shut up. All right. So if you're not familiar, I'm gonna name games, and then if they
name
need
games.
it, they'll name characters. But the voice actor has been in all of the games.
All right, I'm ready.
Halo.
Jason Statham.
Super Princess Peach. Mario Tennis. A lot of Mario side games.
Charles Martinet.
Left 4 Dead. And Saw.
Saw.
Danny Glover.
Is Danny Glover?
No. In Halo, this person played Cortana.
Oh, Jen Taylor.
Yep.
She was also Zoe in Left 4 Dead.
Yes, she is.
Okay.
Do you want me to just automatically say the character names?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd actually do that.
Saints Row, Julius Little.
Keith David.
Yep. Diablo 3, the Demon Hunter. Saints Row 4, the President. Assassin's Creed 3, George Washington.
Nolan North.
No. And then Robert in Last of Us.
George Washington. I know he was in the game. It's just funny to hear it.
Who's Robert in The Last of Us? Which one's Robert?
He's the survivalist fella. Isn't he? No, wait, no. That was Bill.
That's Bill.
Robert was he's the guy from the beginning of the game who screwed Tess and Joel out of
insignificant guy, tutorial guy.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't fucking know, dude. We need Sandy here for this.
Yeah.
Robert Atkin Downs.
Oh, he was in Metal Gear Solid.
And then this one, Duke Nukem.
John St. John.
Yep.
I win. I better at you, Tom.
Deacon Saint, what's his name?
It's John.
Yeah.
Also, that guy's a bad character.
Nah, he's all right.
Yeah, he sucks.
So yeah, if you want to let us know how you feel about Smash being at EVO or your thoughts on Mortal Kombat 11, at us.
I don't want to hear what you think about Smash at EVO.
I do. But yeah, you can obviously listen to us on whatever you're listening to us on. And
I don't want you to listen to us.
I do.
Damn it, Tommy, go take a nap. But yeah, this has been the Save Content.
You know, I might not need a nap if I had that extra hour.
I'm sorry. I slept through my alarm.
Yeah.
It's my fault.
Yeah. It's okay.
I offered you a Red Bull.
I got one here.
Yeah, well, I offered.
Sure.
Well,
that's all right, Shanae. I'm not mad at you.
We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.